Welcome back to the Mind Body Project. Thanks for taking the time to join me today. Over the last couple of months, last number of episodes, I had a series called World Impactors. It was a great series about people that impacted the world. And it's just everyday people, just like you and I. And that was kind of the goal of the series of World Impactors. I've done several different talks, and just one recently I did. They wanted me to share about an event we were having in our community, and so I did. But I took that opportunity first to share about impact and share about how each one of us can make an impact. And we oftentimes think of, I'm just Aaron. What kind of impact can I make? And when I shared about World Impactors, we often think about world as globally. I think I just live in this small town, this small community. I'm just one person. How can I impact the world? And, sometimes our world starts much smaller than that. Starts much smaller than the globe as we think it. If we, as we narrow in from the globe, we think maybe our world is our country. Maybe our world is our state. Maybe our world is our county. Maybe our world is our city. Maybe our world is the organizations I'm in within my community. Maybe the world is my family, my extended family. Maybe the world is the family within my household. And so as we look from globally and we bring it and we narrow it down, we realize that our world starts with those things immediately around us. It starts with family, it starts with friends, it starts with acquaintances, it starts in our business, places of business, it starts in our community, and it grows out from there. And so when we talk about World Impactor, our world can start right where we are. And when I spoke to the organization about making an impact, I shared with them part of kind of my mission is definitely to impact the world. And part of the reason for this, for the Mind Body Project being started, is because I wanted to impact the world. And at the time when I started a couple years ago, that's all I could think of when I said, impact the world, was the global world. And what I've learned in the last couple of years is that our world starts right where we're at. It starts in who's around us, what's around us. But with, starting a couple years ago, the Mind Body Project, really about a little over 2 years ago, and think about what kind of impact can I make. And within those 2 years, these numbers, if people regularly do podcasts, and they might not sound, enormous, but to me, I think it's really cool. We've had over 11,000 downloads for the Mind Body Project. We've reached well over 40 different countries in the world, which is really, really neat. That we can make that impact with those downloads. Those people that have downloaded that might live in my community. They live within my country. They live outside of the country. They're worldwide. Making that impact. And part of making an impact and starting to think how my world shrinks down even more led me to this year starting another podcast. I do them both every other week. It's called My Hometown. Because I started to think, now my world, this has impacted the world. The Mind Body Project has impacted the world with all those countries, all those listeners, all those downloads, all those people's lives that have allowed me in, have allowed my guests in, over the couple of years to share their wisdom, share their knowledge, share their successes, share their failures, and have allowed me to do the same. I thought, yes, we've touched the world, but what about the community I live in? What about sharing some of those stories in my community? So about a year ago, not quite a year ago, but a year, the first of this year, so about 10 months ago, almost 11 months ago, I started My Hometown podcast. And My Hometown podcast was to share the stories of those that live in my community, from business owners, from organizations, to city government, to just those people that live in my community. And, it was really, as our community is growing, so people move in, I wanted it a place to be a record. That somebody wants to know, I want to get to know a community, because how many times can we go to a new town and learn about it without going into every store, talking to every person? There's not many of that. So I thought I wanted to give people that come into our community a chance to do that. So, they can listen to My Hometown on podcast, anywhere they get their podcasts. They can go to my YouTube channel, which is just Aaron Degler, and find those conversations about my hometown, from some of the business owners, from our mayor to our chief of police to our superintendent, to, that makes an impact on our world. And I wanted to start, I thought, if I can do it, impact the world in all those countries with the Mind Body Project, with this podcast, what can I do to help my community? And that's how it started. Was I wanted to help my community and share the stories of my community, and share some of the stories of the small business owners that, why they have a passion for the business they are in. Why are they doing what they are doing? And the neat thing is that My Hometown podcast has it's, I think it's 2,700 downloads, and we've reached 26 different countries. My hometown in Bowie, Texas, home of the world's largest Jim Bowie knife, is reaching other countries. Why is that? Because by impacting the world I live in, by impacting my community, those people that I might interview, I might talk with, I might share their stories, they're connected around the world. They know somebody here, maybe the United States, that person knows somebody in another country, and it's all connected. And so, yet again, by impacting my community, just wanting to make a difference and making it better for my community, that has gone out, and other people around the world have heard the stories of people from my community. So when we think, I'm just one person, I just live in a small town of 1,000 people, 500 people. The town I live in has 5,000 people. And, what difference can I make to impact the world? And from what I've heard from all the different people, World Impactors I've interviewed, from missionaries to just wanting to help in other countries, just wanting to help in our community. You know what they did? They all did. They never necessarily set out to make that impact on the world. But they said, you know what? There's a need, and I'm going to start. And so that's what they did. They started. And that's what I want to share with you today, is to make an impact, to be a world impactor. Again, your world starts with what's around you. Your family members, your household, your coworkers, your community. Start there and decide, I want to make a difference. I want to make an impact on those around me. Maybe it's just, I want to be a better father. I want to take time to listen to my kiddos. I want to be a better mother. I want to understand where they're coming from a little bit more. I want to communicate with them a little bit better. I want to be a better friend. I want to be a better employee. I want to be a better community member. I want to give back more to my community. It's what you want to change and start there. And you'll find as you become a better mother or father, you become a better friend, you become a better employee, you become a better business owner, you become a better community member, you become better at all of these things because you decide to just start doing one of them. And just like my hometown has showed me that by wanting to make impact in my community, it has still reached the global world. And I always do the Mind Body Project, and sometimes, I'll be honest with you, I look at the downloads and I go, oh, how many people heard that? And I've been asked many times, what do you get from it? What do you get from doing the Mind Body Project? What do you get from doing my hometown podcast? Because oftentimes people think there has to be a dollar sign associated with those. There's no dollar sign. There's no dollars associated with it. If I had hundreds of thousands of downloads, would I get sponsors? Sure, it probably would. Then it'd probably be some money. So why do it? Going back to when an episode might not get very many downloads on the Mind Body Project, I look at it and go, wow, that's not many. I don't know why I do this. But then the next week, I interview the next guest, or I share my heart a little bit more with you, and I look at the downloads, and I'm like, that's not very many. But then the next week, I do it again. And that week might be a great week, might have a great guest. Man, look at all those downloads. It's just off the charts. And the next week I do it again, all pumped, think it's going to be like that again. It's down again. But then again, the next week I show up. Why is that? Because I always think, if I stop, do I miss that one person? Do I miss that one person that I was supposed to make an impact with this episode? With the words that I have to say today, did I miss that one person? Out of those 30 people that downloaded it, that episode, out of the 100 people that downloaded, was I meant to speak to the one? And I always think, if I stop, did I stop short of sharing what needed to be heard to the one? And when I remind myself of that, I show back up the next week, and I still get down about it if there's not many downloads. I say, all these things. But then I remind myself again, it's the one. The one you're speaking to. And it may not be on this episode. It may not be on the next. Maybe 6 months from now. That I was supposed to keep showing up, keep getting better, keep having the right words to say, in the right manner, the right way, with the right tone, with the right attitude for the one. So I'll keep showing back up and making an impact on one, because that's how we make an impact on the world, is by one at a time. And as I spoke to all the World Impactors over the last couple months, they all started by making an impact on one. And it grew to two, and it grew to many, and it grew to hundreds, thousands. It grew to making a world of difference by starting with the one. So I hope that this reaches the one today, and if not, that's okay. It'll reach the one tomorrow. Thanks for taking a little time to stop by and join me today. And as I tell my wife Kim every night before I go to bed, it's Bomb of the Night, AA, out.